Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Good. All right. I'm Anthea Stratigos, and it's a pleasure to partner with Heather. Great job, Heather. Thank you very much. Happy anniversary, Gary, and Heather. Yeah, thank you. It's been a great couple of days. All right, so we're going to get started and get this moving. There we go. All right. So, we're in a race. The season's moving. And we have a job to get done because AI is accelerating. And just like Formula One, the rules of the season change periodically. They change sometimes very quickly. They can be controversial, and we get to live with them whether we like it or not. The season is changing, and what you did last year doesn't matter. Who won last year didn't matter. What car you had didn't matter. We're in a hybrid world right now. The drivers are complaining. Well, here we are. It's a new season, new rules. So what are we dealing with? The new rules of our season are geopolitical turmoil. It used to be that the economy and corporate budgets drove our industry. It still does. But right now, the geopolitical environment is driving the economy, which drives our budgets, and still does. So paying attention to the turmoil, while we might not want to, we have to, because it's context for the decisions we're making, the budgets we're planning, the customers that we're serving. Next-gen professionals. We know that we've got 3 generations in the workforce right now. Boomers are finally starting to retire out, but they say boomers never retire. Look at Mick Jagger, right? Still up there. But, we've got generations and new ones coming up and changing the way we have to deliver our products and services. ROI and outcomes, we've heard that yesterday. We've got to deliver the goods. That's how we're going to get measured. That's the way the race gets won. Trust is becoming the new currency, and the provenance that we have in our brands, in our content, in our experiences, and the rights that we have with it is a meaningful value add. But it's a new currency that we're not used to. And now we're living in this AI era where our assistance for the last couple of years is moving to agents, and agents is moving to embedded intelligence. And the future of our industry rests in embedded intelligence. But meanwhile, we have all these realities, right? We have to find new revenue streams. We have audience that we need to deliver and better drive engagement with. Customers raising their demands, not only for the ROI and outcomes, but they need more brand awareness in this era of consistent change. We heard that yesterday. And now marketing-generated bookings, another form of outcomes. MQLs are out, MGBs are in. Make MGBs part of your vernacular and how you measure. How are you bringing the marketer sales? They don't want leads. They don't want qualified leads. They want sales. So how do we work backwards from that paradigm? Content, it's a given. We have to improve the quality, invest in it even more, double down, because that is the foundation for our future, whether we're delivering festivals, conferences, media, research, intelligence, it's the baseline. We have to future-proof the model for events. We have a long list of team realities for our season, and some of us, we have to deliver value to our shareholders, to our owners, finally get the exit, but we're also dealing with M&A and partnerships. Partnerships, super important right now. So our team realities are incredibly important, and they are complex. We talked about this yesterday. Now it's about qualifying, getting on the track. How are we doing? Well, I'm going to give you one picture. I hope it's worth 1,000 words. You're going to look at me and go, oh God, Anthea, more analysis, left brain stuff. But really, this is how you win the race. This is how you get your pole position. Anybody in this room, whether you're a software vendor, a media provider, an event producer, whether you sell intelligent solutions, whether you sell data, is on this pyramid. You are possibly delivering media and marketing services, you're delivering paid end user solutions, you're delivering both, but you are on this pyramid. So we talked yesterday about general news and the reinvention Time made. Time's at the bottom of that pyramid in that data and reference kind of general editorial. And what we heard was the move all the way up to advisory. and 7-figure sales because of the way they've made moves in that company to go up the pyramid when they opened up the content at the bottom. Different companies operate at different levels here. Many of you are in that second row. You have research services, events, communities, festivals, training, media, and that's where a lot of us have lived. But the battle for the race and the podium is actually in the smart data layer and intelligence systems and advisory. It's at the 2 top layers. The winners of the race are going to be at the top 2 parts of the pyramid. And the rest of us will get to ride along for the race. It's not necessarily a bad place to be, but you need to know your place. Because at the bottom, we're thinking about licensing, how we get into systems where data is getting ready to be integrated into machines and agents and AI. Companies at the forefront in our industry like CAS, Thomson Reuters, Wolters Kluwer, they're building smart data and integration solutions so that the hooks of their content is software enabled and they're delivering intelligence systems. So some of us are going to be in data solutions in that. Some of us are going to be actually at the intelligence systems layer. Intelligence systems is basically software, workflow, internal content, meaning the customer's content, and your own and third-party content licensed in. And the companies who are winning the race are doing this right now, and they're also becoming trusted advisors. They're selling that way. We just heard it about the way we have to change the whole approach to events and how we sell events. And whether we're integrating data from media and marketing and audience and intent up the pyramid, or whether we're doing it into the solutions we offer, this is the way the race is going to get won. And every one of you has a position on it. We do this every day for clients to develop strategies for them. Happy to talk to you about you and your positioning, if it makes sense. So now you're on the racetrack and you've got to win. So we launched an Outsell Accelerate AI Framework. Heather talked about it earlier today. We built the pillars of the day around it. There are 5 pillars to the Accelerate AI Framework because what I described in that pyramid, AI runs through it. You need AI at every layer, and AI is how we go up the pyramid into those intelligence systems. So, and again, intelligence systems are whether you're up the marketing chain with audience and intent and purchase behaviors, or you're delivering solutions for clients to go do better financing or better procurement or better supply chain management or better drug development. It's everywhere in the information industry, whether you're media, events, all the way up. All right, so we've got 5 pillars. Do you have an AI strategy? Do you have organizational readiness? What are internal operating use cases that you have? Last 2 years have been spent here. We've been spending a lot of time on operating efficiency, and yesterday we heard we have to spend more time to take our businesses down to the core, down to the studs, Gil said yesterday, and really look at driving efficiency, and then we get to build back up. And then the revenue comes from in product. How are you making money from putting AI in the products and services you deliver, whether it's an event or an intelligence solution, whether it's a media experience, and also how do you drive revenue from licensing your content to LLMs. And we have case studies today, 6 of them, on 2 each on 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to go in somewhat reverse order. Right after me, we'll start with licensing. All right, so when you do take the assessment, it takes about an hour. There's 130 questions, 170 use cases, AI strategy, operational readiness, and all the questions bundled in here. You get your scorecard, and you can see where you are on the spectrum. And it's like a blood exam, right? You get to the lipids and the cholesterol levels and the whatever, and you can see where you are, and then you can figure out how you want to improve. And there's training programs from Heather. There's training programs from others in the room. There's consulting that we offer, or Carl offers, or others in the room offer. So there's ways to remediate what you're seeing if you find yourself in a place where you want to change the score. But this is also normative data, so you can move it over time and see how you're progressing, just like your blood work. So 130 questions. It takes about an hour of time. It's something that we're offering to anybody in the room, anybody in industry right now, because it's really important to get this data into our hands, because I hear every day, how are we doing? We don't know. My board wants to know. My private equity investor wants to know. And by the way, nobody's going to buy you if you don't have answers to these questions. So we're here to help solve that problem, and we'll talk about how to take advantage of it. So let me go back 1 second, too, before we do that. The one thing I want to share with you, the companies with AI strategies have a defensive posture, an offensive posture. They know how they're embedding AI in their organization and the impact it's going to have in their business, or they think they know, and they're operating and adjusting and operating and adjusting. But you have to have an explicit AI strategy. How are you going to respond competitively? What's your business going to look like in 2 years? What's your talent pool going to look like in 2 years? It's really about making it part of your strategy, and you have an AI roadmap as part of the strategy. It's brought out at board meetings, at executive weekly meetings or QBRs to look at progress and also measurable outcomes that they're targeting, even if those targets are moving. Because we're in quicksand right now. It's moving really fast. Having an AI strategy, important. Readiness, the companies that are looking at readiness, they have governance policies. They have practices around their IP management. They understand where their IP is, who has access to it. You have to think of your IP like the money in the bank. You don't let anybody have access to the money in the corporate account. There are things called sign-offs. There are escalation procedures. You don't have to get bureaucratic about it, but you have to get real about it. And you have to have sign-offs about your IP and who gets access to it for what purposes. You need to have governance policies about what you can and can't do. Like Karen said yesterday, you can't just have 70% of your population throw your IP into the open web via ChatGPT because it's convenient. You've got to have the policies and the infrastructure to support it. So the companies, the data is telling us that the companies that are operating best practice have these playbooks and activities in place. They also have training and explicit training and expectations for staff and team to experiment, to get on board, to do what we were hearing yesterday from Jacob and the startups they're doing it organically, the larger companies, medium-sized companies. We're all learning new behaviors. We're building muscle. It's like a workout. Got to go around the track 50 times before we can speed and go as fast as we want, regardless of the car. And then we're going to have 3 areas: internal operations, AI and product, AI and licensing. Internal operations, we have identified use cases for every function. I mentioned there's 130 of them, 170 of them. I lose count. It's a lot because it's growing every day. And at some point, we'll stop tracking because we're all going to be doing it. It's just going to be in the fabric of what we do, like digital, right? Or like, I'm dating myself, but TQM. Everybody had somebody in charge of quality. And then that vanished because it just dissipates into the organization and to the world that we operate in, and that's going to be happening with AI only way, way, way faster. So internal use cases, product and engineering, sales and marketing, HR, finance, all the way around the wheel. You can take every function and deploy it. But today we're going to focus on sales and marketing, and then of course product AI licensing. So let me move on very quickly. I'm not going to read these to you. You can take a picture, but this is what the data is telling us of the top 10 use cases in sales and marketing. So you can take a picture and go back home and say, are we doing this? What ROI are we getting? This is going to change. This is dynamic data, but this is telling us how people are using AI today in marketing and sales use cases in their GTM. And this is whether they're producing events or else otherwise. With the revenue use cases, these are the top 10 use cases in product. People are making money from doing these things in their product today. It might be higher renewal rates, it might be new price increases, it might be new products, but these are the way revenue is being generated from AI and product. I hear this every day. Anthea, how are people generating? This is the way they're doing it. Talking the other night about we're not doing UI, UX anymore. We're doing conversational interfaces and bringing conversation designers in. Fascinating. Our world is changing. Put some of these to use. Go back and see how you can do this in your business. And in licensing, we're going to talk about that a little bit just shortly. And you have to have a framework for how you want to license. What content do you have? Inventory it. What do you own? What do you have rights to? Do you have authors in the picture? If you have photography, can you license the photography or only the editorial? What are you able to license in your environment? Your framework has to include the use cases and applications that you're willing to put your environment in. Are you willing to do it with consumer applications? Are you willing to do it for environments where it's RAG versus training, or for customer LLMs versus big tech LLMs, your own LLMs? How are you going to license that? But this is just the licensing frameworks. You have to understand the use cases, your pricing models, license types, the organizations that are doing licensing right now, and there's only about 15%. We estimate 15% or so of companies in our industry right now, and you're going to hear from two leading ones, license their content, and then you have to have the safeguards. And more than anything, you have to have your licensing available and discoverable, meaning big tech comes to you, you don't knock on their door and say, hi, I have content, do you want it? The engineers will often drive how you get access, what they need, and they'll make a phone call, go find it. You want to be discoverable on the open web because that's how they're going to find you first and foremost. We're going to hear about that, but readiness about your licensing plans, what you have, how to make yourself available, very important. All right, you've won the podium. I'm going to watch the time here. And you've won the race, right? You've taken your, you know where you are in the pyramid, you've taken the use cases and put them to use, and you've put yourself on the podium, you know where your score is. So I'm gonna leave here just a few thoughts about essential actions and where I think driving to thrive is important. And the one thing I'm gonna leave you with and ask you about is the notion of taking the audience mindset and making it a user mindset. You'll notice I didn't share with you a reverse funnel. I shared with you users at the top of the funnel. It wasn't an audience at the bottom or a buyer buying at the bottom. It was users at the top buying. So let's change the audience mindset. Let's make them users. Let's get them engaged. Have them be part of your editorial team. They are your content creators. They are your passionate advocates. They are the folks who are taking engagement to a whole new level. And so I really believe that the word audience actually holds us back because it's a passive term. And if the synonyms, every single synonym for audience is passive, I want you to think about users, buyers. How do I buy better? How do I solve problems better? Look at open evidence and what it's doing in the marketplace. If you don't know about open evidence, fascinating medium-based model helping physicians at the point of care. Unbelievable what they're doing and how fast they're doing it. So users are part of your ecosystem and they're part of your editorial team, et cetera, et cetera. All right, I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna ask you to stay in touch post-race. You've won the race, you wanna stay in touch. There's a QR code here to sign up to take the Outsell Accelerate Framework. It's an hour of your time, might take your CEO and a CFO or your head of AI, and we'll be sharing out the results. You'll get a full blood workup. You'll get your workup, and then it'll be fun. You'll get to see where you stand. So please, that's something that we are offering, and we want to make it available to you. All right, so I'm going to stop for a moment. We're going to put the slides up, and I'm going to introduce the first two circuits, who amazing speakers. Thank you. I love this stuff. I could spend all day talking about it, so I got to watch the clock and keep on time. So. All right, so first and foremost, we've got two case studies on licensing. So these are two gentlemen at the forefront of licensing, and I will say that Alphonse and Josh, who I've had the chance to connect with over the last couple months, well, more so, but we've known each other for a while, Josh more recently. But Josh, well, first, Alphonse is going to come up. He's the head of agency at Reuters, and he does a lot of licensing of Reuters content in many areas of media, sports, government, corporations, and been working predominantly. Today we're going to talk about big tech. And what I love about the Reuters story is a lot of that content is more ephemeral, right? It's news, it changes, but yet we've got value in the LLM environment. So we're going to talk about that. And Josh Jarrett at Wiley, SVP and GM, AI growth, And he took Wiley and came from a strategy function and moved into this position. Wiley's, for those of you who don't know, a little more traditional organization, and really moved the needle. I would say 9 figures moved the needle in 2 years on revenue that didn't exist in the organization, and really put the company on the map. It was a first mover advantage for sure on AI licensing to big tech, and now to partners. See, partners are part of this ecosystem because you can't go up that pyramid by yourself. They're doing work with IQVIA, and you'll hear about the partners and the licensing for AI from both of them. So Alphonse is going to come up first, spend 15 minutes, and then Josh is going to come up and spend his time, and you'll have a full circuit on really what's happening in licensing and how you can get your content ready in that environment. So Alphonse, I'm going to turn it over to you.